you want to match the size of your bait. Now, we just got back from Cabo. We were fishing down there for the last 4 months, and we were fishing that striped marlin. And there was a lot of fish down there. A lot of my clients don't understand when they're bit, so we use these 8/0 circle hooks for hooking the mackerel. We nose hook them, but the nice thing about the circle hook is just the tension of the water alone will set the hook in the fish's mouth, so the guys don't have to pull on them. This will actually hook the fish in the corner of the mouth. So this is what the longliners use for years. This is what the commercial rock cod guys use as circle hooks, because they actually hook the fish and you don't have to set the hook. So that's why we use a circle hook fishing for marlin, because my guys can't feel the bite 90% of the time. If we have some guys that can, we're going to use a long shank 7/0 hook, because of the fact that a lot of guys also that know how to fish like to set the hook. Why a longer shank? So that it doesn't have it, it'll be cooked and it won't have a tendency to get sawed off so much. So that's what I believe is going to help you land more fish with the longer shank hook, because it's not going to get sawed off so much. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I believe it. Now, when we're fishing sardines, almost always your sardine is 5 to 7 inches. So we're going to use a 4/0 thin wired hook. Why thin wire and why not the thick wire like this? Because the sardine's going to have a hard time swimming this thick wire because it's weight added to the bait. But the thin wire hook, he's going to be able to swim it much better because it's not a lot of weight on the nose of the fish. I know people have straightened out hooks. I'm an old man. I don't pull hard enough to straighten out the hook. I've never straightened out a thin wire mustad or whatever type of thin wire hook you want to use. I've never straightened them out. Now, I know you guys pull harder than I. Maybe you're going to straighten them out. But hey, what a great story. I straightened out a hook today on a fish. But you're going to get way more bites with the thin wire hook. So that's what I'm going to use for my sardine fishing. When I come to the anchovies, I'm going to use a number 4 thin wire black hook. See how it's much smaller than the 4/0? Because of the fact that the bait is smaller. If you hook this hook into an anchovy, well, it's going to weigh them down right away. Plus, the fish are going to see it. I don't care how good you hooked it. But if you hook this small hook into your anchovy, which is a number 4 hook, he's going to be able to swim that, and you're going to be able to hook the fish. Now, when I was a kid fishing San Clemente Island, we were catching bluefin at the island. On the anchor, you had to use at least a number 4. Sometimes we used a number 8 thin wire hook, and we caught 30-pound bluefin, because all you got to do is hook them. But they won't eat it if the hook is that big inside of your anchovy. But if they're that big in your anchovy, they can't really see the hook. They're going to have more of a tendency to eat it. So that's why we're going to use the smaller hook for anchovies, the bigger hook for sardines, and the way bigger hook for mackerel, okay? Now, we got squid. We got live squid, which is a cool thing that we have in Southern California. And we use a lot of live squid here for fishing sea bass, fishing yellowtail. My go-to is the orange leadhead with the, I believe this is a 6/0 thin wire hook coming off the leadhead. My buddy pours these and makes them for me. The orange leadhead seems to attract the fish, and we're going to use this with the squid, okay? Another way you can fish the squid is with your 4/0 hook and a sliding sinker depending on the current. We're going to start off with this size if there's not a lot, because remember, most of the time we're fishing sea bass in very, very shallow water, 35 feet or less. We don't want a big sinker. We'll start off with this. If it's making it to the bottom too quick, we're going to bring the weight down to like 1/8 of an ounce or 1/4 of an ounce. Because of the fact that that sea bass, you want that bait to sink slowly through the water column, through the edge of the kelp. You don't want your bait laying on the bottom. So we're going to go with the least amount of weight we can, fishing that squid so that it's going to go through the water column as slow as it can. Because if you've ever seen a sea bass, their mouth is out in front. It's not on the bottom. A lot of guys catch a lot of bat rays and a lot of shovel-nosed sharks when they're fishing for sea bass. That's because you're laying your bait on the bottom and their mouth is like a plunger. It's on the bottom. But if you can just work it down the water column with the smaller weight, you're going to increase your ability to catch fish. A lot of times we use this bullet weight also, because that'll come down over the knot of the hook, makes the hook almost invisible now because the squid's on there. The bullet is on there. We're going to put the bullet on there, pointed at the rod, the tip of it, so that the eye of the hook goes up inside the bullet sinker. Does that make sense? I hope it does, guys. If you try these little secrets that I'm letting you in on, you're going to do much better out there fishing. And once again, I'm going to ask you, let us know how you do with this technique of the different kinds of hooks and the black and the bronze hooks. Let us know if that works for you guys. Good luck out there on the water. Go catch some fish.